So Cartamundi is a Belgian company. It was formed in 1970. There are 11 manufacturing plants and 13 sales offices around the world. And in the United States, we make board games for organizations like Hasbro and Mattel. And it's funny because everybody thinks that Monopoly is the #1 game in the world, and it actually is, and it's Connect 4.
Really?
Yeah, it's Connect 4.
I do like Connect 4.
So a lot of organizations feel that if they have multiple vendors, that when they have a need and they need to ramp quickly. But unfortunately, what happens is the pool of people is only so big, and the multiple vendors end up competing against each other.
You may be getting somebody from one service that you had discontinued an employment relationship with from another service. There's some overlap. And just lack of strategic collaboration.
Our relationship started in September of 2017 when I met Jen. It was very important to my workforce that we had no interruption to production. Jen and her team came on site, and they helped the people understand that you may be with this agency and you may have loyalty, but now this is what we're asking of you. We want you to become part of our family. And we brought over all but one.
Being primary vendor allows us a couple things. It allows us to forecast, both looking at historic trends, but also having those conversations where we sit down and say, how are things looking for you? What's going to be happening 3 months from now, 6 months from now, so that we can prepare, but also it allows us to prioritize recruitment. So we are always recruiting for Cartamundi. Always, 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 regardless of, whether we know for sure that next week there's going to be a spike, we're always recruiting. And we are able to prioritize those business needs because of that primary vendor relationship. We know that most employees or candidates that work with a staffing firm are hoping to find that bridge to full-time employment. And we are thrilled that through partnerships like this, we can help them with that. That is 150% part of our mission.
Tricia, one of the things that you did that was so cool for us was when the team came and worked in the plant firsthand. Understood completely why when we talked about our high-speed production line, that people get dizzy, and it was kind of a giggle. It was like, really, people get dizzy, and then they got on the line and they were like, yeah, it makes you dizzy. And what are the things that we need to do as an organization to help the person be better prepared? Having that conversation right up front with a candidate, so that we understood that they were a good fit or they weren't necessarily the best fit, and where was the other opportunity for them to be. That commitment to being able to do that and just seeing, hey, this is what it's all about, and I know because I was there.
That's something that we really like to do if a client is comfortable with us doing that. I always say, listen, I have no manual dexterity, so if you put me on your line, you're likely going to have a slowdown, so that's a problem. But again, having the opportunity to do that speaks to the commitment, and it does allow us to have firsthand knowledge that's critical, both when we're describing the jobs to people, but also evaluating people with that firsthand knowledge. And I think for our employees, it gives us some credibility as well to say, no, trust me, you're going to get motion sickness. If you get car sick, you don't want to work on that fast-moving line, right?
We come up like Dunkin'. Yeah, we found out we like cheaper coffee.
So I think that's a united trait, actually. Yeah. I do. Yeah, I never see people with Starbucks at work. Maybe we're pre-screening in some way. We can do transactional staffing in the sense of like, hey, my accountant is going to be out for 2 weeks. Can you send me an accountant? Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. We're recruiting all the time. But we are so much more effective and more enthusiastic, frankly, when we have a partner that's like, let's go do this thing together. When I think about this account too, I think the opportunity for our project manager to be able to come on site and develop those relationships, the more that we understand, the better we can do. It's looking long term. It's where do we want to help the organization go? What are their goals? And again, the openness to having conversations about creative ways to get there.
Working with your organization has raised HR's credibility, that we can bring people into the building and we can actually support and make the numbers that we need to make from a production perspective, so that we satisfy our customer. And now it's amazing. We're 2 years into this partnership. We've had our second year-end meeting, and we continue to look at what's going on, and there is no end in sight to this partnership. It's just really this is where it needs to be, really, and exciting. This is what works.
So, lunch? Yeah. All right, we're gonna go grab lunch. Do you guys? Do you want me to bring you something or no?